Greetings everybody, and thank you for watching. Our goal for this video is to guide you through the process of choosing hardware for a de-Googled phone. If you're considering one of our recommended OS alternatives, then this video is perfect for you. Maybe you have an iPhone and are facing the reality that you can't stop Apple's surveillance, because that hardware is locked down so you can't replace the OS. You need to know what to buy. Maybe you already have an Android phone and you want to know if you can de-Google it. If that's your daily driver, it can save money. If it's one of your old phones, then maybe you want to take an OS for a test drive. Maybe you want that test drive on a low-cost and compatible used phone to reduce risk and anxiety. Or maybe you just want to learn how this stuff works. Well, this video can be your guide. We're going to focus on the 3 Android variants we've recommended. Those are EOS, Iodé OS, and GrapheneOS. For each one, we'll walk through the following steps. First, we'll find the hardware support list. Then we'll see if a specific phone is on that list. We'll describe the difference between Easy Mode and Expert Mode install options for that operating system. Then we'll search the hardware list for phones that have an Easy Mode install path. When we're done with that, we'll talk about the pros and cons of phone selection, and then describe what we believe are the safest and most useful hardware options. Spoiler alert! If you don't want the details and just want an easy choice, here it is. There are 2 phones that will make your adventure quest easy as pie. A slice of cake, or whatever the aphorism is, wherever you are. Your 2 sweet spot choices are the Google Pixel 7 and the Google Pixel 8. These 2 phones work for all 3 of our recommended de-Googled operating systems. I'll explain more later in the video. We start with the de-Googled OS that will be most attractive to the largest number of people. That's because EOS, combined with the services from Murena, is the closest thing to a drop-in replacement for an Apple, Google, or Samsung phone. Our quest starts with an internet search. We search for EOS device support list. This will bring up results, and you'll look for the one with the text Smartphone selector, EOS documentation. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see there's support for over 270 phones. To be clear, if a phone is on this list, it has some type of support, but only some of these phones have what we call Easy Mode installation. Now we'll scroll back up to search by vendor. We want to see if a specific phone is supported. I have a friend with a Samsung Galaxy A15, but it's not there. But we do have a lot of Samsung Galaxies. This is an important point. Mouse over the name. You'll see a pop-up that shows specific model numbers. That's important because if you try to apply that specific OS image to the wrong device, you're not going to have a good experience. You'll probably end up taking the device to uBreak iFix to get it unbricked. Yes, I have a personal experience with this. Okay, let's try something else. How about an old phone like a Pixel 3a XL? Okay, we do have that. You'll see that it lists Community Install Doc for the available installation option. That means the community provided the instructions. There are also phones with an official install doc, which means instructions provided by the EOS organization. Either type of install doc is what we call an expert mode install path. Expert mode requires command line work and enough knowledge to understand the written directions, which are also in expert mode language. I can confirm that the expert path is possible because my old Pixel 3a XL was my first adventure and I did get it done. But it was more stressful than I would have liked, even with my decades of technical experience. Now, let's search for phones that allow for an Easy Mode install path. We open the Search Options section. In the box labeled EOS version, select Official. In the box labeled Available Through, choose EOS Installer. This is the web-based installer that gives the Easy Mode path. The phones left on the list support the Easy Mode install process. That works for everyone. We suggest that you should also be able to roll back to the stock operating system just in case you want to. For EOS, and on this page, that means you'll want the phones that include the rollback option in the available through column. Note that the EOS version column has a code that corresponds to the version of basic Android the image has. The code is simple. A15 is Android 15, and so on. But what about pre-installed? You'll also notice that a bunch of these include a button to buy from Murena. These are the possible options for buying pre-installed. They aren't guaranteed to be available, but the button will take you to the Murena phone list. So we'll click here. That takes us to the Murena website, the shopping website. We click Buy Now. If you get shown prices in euros and you want them in dollars, you can fix that by going here and choosing your country. And now we have dollars. As of January 2026, for US purchases, I see a refurbished Murena Pixel 7 and a new Murena Pixel 8. There are also Fairphones, a Shift phone, and a TerraCube. We'll talk about these later in the video. Okay, let's go through this exercise for the Iodé OS. Iodé can be attractive to the more technically adventurous or people who really prefer a pure and clean Android environment. So now our search string will be Iodé OS device support list. Don't worry, you don't need the accent over the letter E. Next, click on the result called Iodé OS Official Supported Devices, Iodé. If you scroll to the bottom, you'll see it supports over 60 phones. The same as with EOS, if a phone is on this list, it has some type of support, but only some have easy mode installation. In this case, the supported hardware models are explicit in a column called Variants. Same as always, the OS image has to match the hardware if you want to avoid a bad time. So let's do our tests. We go up here to the search box in the upper right, and let's look for that Galaxy A15, and it's not present. There are a lot of Galaxies, however. Now let's look for our Pixel 3a XL, and that isn't, 3a is not there. There is a Pixel 3, however. The Iodé OS version column directly tells you the base Android version of the Iodé OS image, as well as the Lineage OS version. Okay, let's find the Easy Mode option. To do this, we're going to sort the table and look for yes in specific columns. First, sort Iodé OS installer compatible so that yes is at the top. Next, sort bootloader locked so that yes is on the top. The Easy Mode phones have yes in both of these columns. You'll also want phones where yes is in the firmware included column. We see familiar results. Google Pixels, Motorola phones from 2022, some Fairphone models. I think the Shift 8 is the most recent. Phones that are not 5G compatible are generally older. If you care about 5G compatibility, those phones might not work for you. But you'll see Pixels supported from 3 through Pixel 9. But what about pre-installed? There's no need to search for this one. You go to iodé.tech and then click the Shop tab. There's advertising for some specific phones, but if we click through Google Pixel, it takes us to a page with some filters. This allows you to look at all their stuff. You can filter by new or refurbished to see what they have. Remember to be wary of phones that might not work for your carrier. We'll talk about this in a bit. You can see options for getting a pre-installed OS phone for Motorola and Sony, but also Chinese manufacturers like OnePlus and Xiaomi. There are a lot of pre-installed operating system choices. Okay, now for our third option, Graphene. Again, we'll use our standard search phrase. GrapheneOS device support list. The result we want is GrapheneOS frequently asked questions. We go there and then follow the link, which devices are supported. For reasons you'll read about security, there's a simple answer. The list of supported phones is just Pixels from Pixel 6 to 10. I believe that list includes every Pixel model in that model range, including the Folds and the tablet. We already know that the Samsung Galaxy A15 and the Pixel 3a XL are not on that list. If you read a little further, the 3a XL was once supported, but isn't any longer. C'est la vie. If you scroll down, you'll see that for security reasons, their recommended list is just the Pixel 8s and 9s and 10s. Again, for reasons of security. What about phones that have easy mode? This is definitely a trick question. GrapheneOS has two officially supported installation methods. You can either use the web USB-based installer recommended for most users, that's the easy mode, or you can use the command line installation guide aimed at more technical users. Let me repeat that. GrapheneOS provides an easy mode install for all of their supported devices, and that's a huge win. I used my Pixel tablet as my first Graphene test. I waved bye-bye to my Fire HD, which couldn't stop offering to sell me ebooks every time I picked it up. What about getting GrapheneOS pre-installed? You can do it, but the Graphene group really wants you to use the easy mode install path. The best reason for this is the trust chain. If compromising the data on your phone can result in someone losing their life or liberty, then you need to know everything about how the phone was secured. Buying your phone from someone on the internet adds a step to that chain that you don't need. Okay, we've reviewed the device availability for 3 de-Googled operating systems, and you probably saw some unfamiliar phones. The de-Googled operating system projects are not restricted to a single country. EOS and Iodé OS are based in the European Union. That means the device support lists you'll find include phone brands used there, and that might not work with your current carrier. Phones not widely used in North America will also be difficult to repair in the United States. Here are 3 phones that we do see. If you want to try one, I suggest calling customer support for the provider you want to use before purchasing. All 3 of these are claimed to be working with T-Mobile and their MVNOs, or the Mobile Virtual Network Operators. Providers like Mint Mobile, Metro, Tello, and some other names that I don't really recognize. Fairphone is a Dutch electronics manufacturer that designs and produces smartphones and headphones. It aims to minimize the ethical and environmental impact of its devices. The phone is modular, which makes it easily repairable and customizable by the user, in keeping with right-to-repair principles. ShiftPhone is also a modular, easy-to-repair smartphone brand, but the company is located in Germany. The company emphasizes fair trade and ecology, similar to Fairphone. TerraCube is based in Redmond, Washington. Their mission is to provide a safe digital environment for families, promoting healthy tech habits for children while minimizing environmental impact through sustainable smartphone design. Their business model seems to be to resell Pixel hardware with their own carrier plans with a focus on child safety. The phones are darn cheap and come with the built-in parental control stuff. So, there seem to be a number of players trying to get in on the de-Googled phone train by emphasizing security. For the general public, I would avoid any phone not made by a major manufacturer. Okay, this is the table I bet you've been waiting for. Here's how to pick the safest option for using your de-Googled operating system with your preferred telecom provider. Yep, I mentioned it early on. It's the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 8. The Pixel 8 is the security sweet spot, although you can get a Pixel 7 for a little cheaper. If you intend it to be your daily driver and you're looking at EOS or Iodé OS, go with the Pixel 7. But if you're going to go with Graphene, go with the Pixel 8. The Pixel can take 2 physical SIM cards and also supports an eSIM. How you choose will depend on your goals and comfort with experimentation. Each of these operating systems have a lot of supported phones, with many listed as having an easy mode install path. But if you want to test drive each of our recommended operating systems with a single device, the options are narrow: the Pixel 7 and the Pixel 8 for smartphones. That works for all 3 operating system options. If you want a tablet, then Pixel Tablet works with EOS and GrapheneOS, but not Iodé OS. If you've picked your operating system and you have the hardware, then you're ready to go.